Good morning, here's Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 8th of August. US market was fairly quiet yesterday, S&P up almost 1%, but still it is below the little support resistance line here, 45.27, and as we can see, the pre-market is ticking down a little bit, so not much news there. The correction is still unfolding, I believe, so not much news there really. Also, the Nasdaq closed below 15,420, and we are a little bit lower this morning. In Asia, on the other hand, Seng week closed below the clouds, just around the 55 simple moving average. We are below the 100, we are below the 200. I think we could see a little bit to the weaker side here. We are also below this rising trend line that it broke, so maybe it seems like it's a false break really. Interesting thing though is that the 200 is still rising. We are still in a bullish sentiment, but we are pointing lower, and the 100 also here rising, or well, you can say flat is at the moment. But next couple of days could be decisive. Will we also break back below the longer term or medium term falling trend line there? And currently it seems like it, but it's really going to be interesting as I keep an eye on those levels. Japan bounced off 31,700 and change, below the 33,500. I actually think we could see it being range bound in this range. Fairly big range though, between 32 and 33,500 here for the next few weeks. The underlying sentiment is bullish, but there's been divergence, so we are in a correction phase. But on the medium term, the correction phase tells us that it could be over in maybe a couple of weeks, and I think the Nikkei market will trade higher. In Europe, sent out analysis on the main European indices yesterday that tells us that the DAX testing the 15,865, which is the 61.8 retracement of the uptrend here, and that level seems to be key here on the short term. You also see the 55 starting to turn around, so there is some overhead resistance at the 16,000. Again, keep an eye on the RSI. Will it break below 40 or not? Basically, closing below is the key level to look out for. Here is the Germany 40 CFD, also testing this 61.8 retracement at the moment. So that's really key. If it takes out the low here from the other day at 15,778, I believe we could see a test or move down to around the 15,500. The Amsterdam index still above the 768. Same picture on the CFD. Here we have 767, 766. Currently be testing just around the 61.8 retracement and above the cloud. So next couple of days could be crucial. Will we have a break below, and will the RSI also break below 40? The Belgian market still in a correction phase. Seems like an ongoing saga almost, that the market opens lower and then buyers come back in and trying to lift it. There's still some room down further here for correction higher. If it can move back up and close the gap and close above 37.60, then it is back in bullish sentiment and bullish uptrend. CAC 40, CAC Current. Also, the 61.8 seems to be fairly important level, but I would say the key support 72, 50, 51 here is key, and it could be tested here the next couple of days. As you can see here, also the FRA 40 CFD hovering around just about that, and the lower part of the cloud. So if we break below, take out the low here from a couple of days ago at 72.09. Then we could see a move down to around 7,100. And just one thing, I will take the SMI, the Swedish the Swiss market. Also 61.8 at 11,061 seems to be a key level to watch out for. Let's look at the futures / CFD. Also that level here around 11,000, that seems to be key. On the FX front, euro dollar still trying to bounce higher here. We are still in a bullish sentiment and there's no divergence, so we should see a move higher, but it's struggling a little bit. However, we have the 100 and the 55 moving average coming up. That should give it some support and point to a higher level. Dollar index moving a little bit higher back here after the 61.8 retracement. Still strong resistance here at the cloud, just around the 102.5 level, and that's the level to look out for. If it moves back above the cloud, well, then we could see a move higher, and then the downtrend seems to be over. But I'm not so convinced at the moment. Dollar yen, there is some movements in some of the yen pairs. Testing once again the 786 retracement on 143.40. If we can have dollar yen to close above, then there's room up to 145, potential higher, because then we are back in bullish sentiment. We are back in bullish uptrend. The sentiment is already there on the RSI, and the medium-term trend is also still up. So we should see a move higher, and also the 55 moving average is adding some support. The euro yen, very close to test the 158 strong resistance. We can see how many times it got rejected. There's some really strong interests. So if it breaks above, we could see kind of a catch-up effect, so to speak, where it just, will pop higher to 160 fairly quick. And we will also see the RSI breaking above, currently testing its falling trend line. If it closes above 60, well, then it's back in bullish trend with 160 plus levels to look out for. On the sterling yen, also trying to move towards the 184. It's struggling a little bit, but the sentiment is still bullish. And finally, when we're talking the yen pairs, I will do a written update later on this. The Aussie yen, a little bit depressed, but that is mainly due to the Aussie dollar, which we have here, that is moving lower towards the 64.50, possibly lower. It's in a downtrend, confirmed downtrend on daily, and also very close to be it on weekly if it takes out these lows here. Cable to the weaker side, but the underlying sentiment is still bullish. We've broken the falling trend here, and I think we will move higher, but it could be caught here between 129 and 126 for the next few days. We need a move higher above the trend line. We need a move above 129 to really get upside traction for cable. Until then, it seems fairly depressed. On the commodity space, we have the gold spot that is once again trying to test the 61.8 retracement at 1929 and the lower part of the cloud. We are still in a bullish sentiment, but it seems fairly weak at the moment, so it seems a little bit depressed. And we are very short term in a downtrend, but I will still call it a correction phase until proven otherwise, at least until we take out the 1923 there, which is key. Sometimes, as I mentioned before, often silver seems to be the front runner, so maybe it's trying to predict what's going to happen in the gold market. Moving around the 2310 support, that is key at the moment. Look out for that one. We are still holding on to the bullish sentiment. Copper this morning is being beaten below the 382. Crucial, very crucial if we close below here, and if we will also get the RSI back below 40, then we are back in a bearish sentiment. But it's broken the rising trend line, and it's broken below the 382 pivot here, and we are currently below the cloud. So that is something to look out for where we're going to end today. Oil markets, Brent seems to be running out of steam just below the key resistance at 87, 88. So we could see a move down towards the 200 moving average around 82, and WTI, same picture really, possibly a move down below 79 towards the 200 moving average. We can see how strong that resistance around 83 really is. Finally, yields falling back a little bit here, and what is interesting, we have a little bit of divergence here on the RSI, so it's not really supporting the uptrend here, but we are still in an uptrend. For now, it's merely just a correction, so let's see here the next couple of days. The jury's still out. Can it actually keep up? We're still about 4% on that one. All right, that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Talk to you again tomorrow.